All right, good morning, everybody. How's it going today? Um, you know, I'm gonna start off by saying, forgive me if I come off as being condescending to people or coming off as me being a know-it-all. But I will say one thing: I have been following the sport for a long time, and I have learned about how the business of boxing works. Am I going to sit here and say that I'm an insider? Absolutely not. Am I going to sit there and say that um, that I've been involved in any type of business when it comes to the sport of boxing in terms of promoting an event? No. But I have talked to several fighters, several managers, and several promoters over the years, and I have picked up a lot of knowledge, and I do know what are facts and what aren't facts. So I think what people don't understand is when they hear the term break even point and they say, well, they need this in order to break even. I don't think they really understand who the they is. I don't think they really understand how the business of boxing really works and how the pay structure really works in the sport of boxing. So promoters put on shows, everybody knows that. But they collect money through ticket sales, through sales of broadcast rights to networks, sales to pay-per-views, and sales to satellite networks, and sales to the casinos who are hosting the fight. So the promoter gets paid by the venue, they get paid by advertisers, they get paid by the network or networks who are showing the fight, and they get paid through the sale of the fight to other countries. So there's a lot of revenue streams for the promoter. And the promoter in turn will take that money and pay the fighter. So when Bob Arum says break even point here, what he really means is ESPN's break even point. Because ESPN and Top Rank are in a partnership together. And ESPN pays Top Rank. They pay Top Rank. They have a deal with Top Rank, and they also have a deal with Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury has a deal with Bob Arum as well. So Bob Arum and ESPN are a partnership. They're a partnership. And that's right. Boxing Straight Right says Habib also long-term replay deals. So yeah, there's so many revenue streams that the promoter has in order to generate revenue for a fight of this magnitude. So when, like again, I repeat myself, when Bob Arum says break even point, he's talking about ESPN's break even point because ESPN have put up money for all the Tyson Fury fights. They're in a contract with Tyson Fury along with Bob Arum. So Bob Arum pays Tyson Fury with ESPN's money. It's not like Bob Arum is going into his own bank account and exhausting all his funds in order to pay Tyson Fury. Bob Arum's been doing this for 45 years. He knows what he's doing. And for him to be irresponsible in working out the financial details for a fight of this magnitude when he's been doing this forever, he's been doing this longer than half of us have been alive. He's been doing this almost half his own life. So for you guys to think that like he's just stupid and he doesn't know how to make a deal of this magnitude without losing money, then I hate to say this, you're just naive and possibly ignorant. So again, Bob Arum is getting paid by ESPN. And when you go on ESPN Plus and you see all those fights that are on ESPN Plus, there's one reason why ESPN Plus has all those fights in their library, all those archive fights that are top ranked fights, because Bob Arum sold ESPN Plus the rights to those fights. Okay? So then when you talk about all the advertisement that was spent for this fight, blah, 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 blah. But think about it. Fox hosted the Super Bowl. Okay, so do you think they charged themselves for the Super Bowl ad? ESPN Plus used their own network to advertise as well. ESPN and Fox used their own network to promote this fight and do advertisements for this fight. So how much money did they really have to invest in advertisement? I mean, there was some advertisements on the, they had to pay some money to the cable companies to help advertise this fight, but most of the advertising for this fight was on Fox and on ESPN. Whereas when HBO would have a host a fight, or Showtime would host a fight, and even DAZN, they have to pay networks to show advertisements for the pay-per-view. In this case, ESPN and Fox use their own platforms to advertise this fight primarily. So they cut out the middleman when it comes to advertisement for this fight. So in that regard, they saved a lot of money. Okay? And do you think ESPN is really concerned if they only break even for this fight? Because again, ESPN has deals with the NBA. They have deals with all other types of sports and sports entities. They have a ton of revenue streams, and they're owned by ABC, which is a multi-billion-dollar company. So again, are you really going to concern yourself and worry about a network possibly only breaking even on one event when throughout the course of the year these guys are making billions and billions of dollars with all of the other sports that they cover, and they have contract deals with all of the other entities that they have deals with? So people love controversy, and they love negativity, and you have a lot of cynical people out there, and they love to say, oh well, this isn't working, this is failing. Like, people want the Zone to fail, people want PBC to fail, people want ESPN to fail, people want Bob Arum to fail. You have these factions, you have this tribalism in the sport of boxing, where now you have people competing against each other in terms of, like, if you're on the Top Rank side and you're with Fury, then you want PBC to fail. If you're on the PBC side, then you want the Zone and you want Top Rank to fail. And it's so corny and ridiculous. People just don't understand how the business works. And they're going to sit there and say, well, if ESPN or Fox loses money on this fight, then they're not going to put on any big fights anymore. That makes no sense. ESPN is in a long-term contract with Top Rank, and they're in a long-term contract with Tyson Fury. So they have to show Tyson Fury fights. But obviously they do. Bob Arum has told me that they do sit down with ESPN and discuss opponents. They do. But Bob Arum and Top Rank have the final say. But it is a partnership. And ESPN is definitely the entity that has all the money in this relationship. They're the ones that are paying Bob Arum. That's where Bob Arum is getting the money to pay the fighters, through ESPN. So Top Rank is not losing money on this deal, on this fight. They're not. It's almost impossible. The guarantee that Tyson Fury was offered was $5 million. Bob Arum doesn't even know how much Deontay Wilder's making. I asked him yesterday. He doesn't even know. So you can have all the sources in the world you want, but I think the best source to talk to in regards to knowing what's going on with this pay-per-view is the actual guy who put the deal together, the actual guy who was running the event, and that's Bob Arum. I don't care what some guy in the gym told you. I don't care what some journalist told you who puts sources in the front of a headline looking for clickbait. And again, it could be anybody. It could be the guy that grabs the coffee for the fighter. It could be the guy who sweeps the floors up in the gym after the fighter finishes training. A source can be anybody. But I got the best source yesterday. I went straight to the horse's mouth yesterday and asked Bob Arum about this event. So when you say the break-even point, that's for the network. Just like when Saudi put up all this money for Joshua Ruiz too. It's quite possible that they didn't get the return on their investment. It's quite possible that the Zone isn't getting the return on their investment with Canelo and with Anthony Joshua. But again, when you look at these networks, the Zone could be losing money on boxing. But are they really losing money as a whole with all of the other sports that they're involved with and all of the other countries that they're involved with? And when you look at who's backing them, that, you know, if you look at the Perform Group, they're a gigantic multi-billion-dollar, a gigantic billion-dollar entity. And even if they were to lose money in one sector of their business, overall they're turning over crazy profits when you look at all of the other endeavors that they're involved in. So I just think people don't understand how things work in the sport of boxing. They just have these assumptions and they make these statements, and you've never really talked to anybody. The problem is this: the media wants to be first, and they'll just throw anything out there to get a headline, because most of us in this world, we get paid by the hour. These guys get paid by the click. And if they can generate clicks, and if they can make you read their stories, and in turn you're regurgitating their stories, and when you regurgitate their stories, what do? Oh, I heard this from so-and-so. I heard this from so-and-so. And then once again, they get more clicks because you're telling other people, and other people are going to go click and read it. It's all BS. So this whole notion that Bob Arum, Top Rank, are going to take a bath in this event, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. This is probably going to be the highest grossing heavyweight fight in the history of the sport since Tyson Lewis. That generated 112 million. Okay? And when you look at history, even Joshua Ruiz too, the projections were, let's look at the projections. When they did the numbers for Joshua Ruiz too, okay? The Broadcast Audience Research Board revealed that Sky Sports box office generated 1.284 million buys on fight night and a further 256 buys over the following week, totaling 1.54. So the UK only has, three entities or three broadcast avenues that they use. Bob Arum revealed to me that the United States has 9. So you're not going to be able to count everything in 5 days. It took, if you remember correctly, the Joshua Ruiz 2 numbers weren't released until 3 weeks later, the official numbers. And initially, I said this yesterday in another video, that 1.28 was the projection. And then a week later, 256 buys were counted the following week. So if 850 is the early projections, it's not out of the realm of possibility, and it's very plausible, and it's very possible that there will be an additional 250,000 buys counted in the coming weeks. Okay, so again, people they're not looking at the big picture. They're not looking at the big picture. Okay, so if they generated 17 million, okay, with the live gate, okay, and I honestly believe when it's all said and done at the end of the day, and Bob Arum is very confident, and he said the same thing, this could do 1.2 or 1.25 million pay-per-view buys when all of the revenue is counted. All the buys are counted from the various distributors and the various entities. Once it's all said and done, I'm going to be conservative. I think this fight, I'm pretty confident in saying that this fight will end up doing at least $1 million. So if you times $1 million by $80, okay, that's $80 million, okay, plus You add the 17 million in there. That's $97 million right there. Now, we're not even adding in the UK, which Bob Arum said could possibly be 800,000. And those are early projections. So even if the UK does a million, right? Let's say the UK does a million. Okay? And you times a million times 25. Okay? So you add another 25 million onto that. That's 122 million, okay? And I'm not even talking about all the other countries that pay Top Rank broadcasting rights to show this fight. So it's quite possible that this fight is going to generate well over $100 million. Now, if that's not a success, then I don't know what is. And if Bob Arum is only guaranteeing Tyson Fury $5 million, as was reported, we don't know what the actual purse is. Okay? We don't know. I interviewed Bob Arum last year and asked him about Tyson Fury's deal with ESPN. And he himself said he doesn't know what Tyson Fury's actually going to get paid. So it depends on how much ESPN is going to pay for each of Tyson Fury's fights. Just like DAZN has this deal with Canelo, and I guess it was what was Canelo's actual deal with DAZN? I think it was 100. He's got 5 fights for like or 11 fights for 11 fight deal, and let me just double check because I forget the exact numbers. Canelo DAZN deal. I forgot what the actual number is. Okay. So he's got the 365 million contract for 11 fights. So automatically, everyone divided the 365 by 11, and they came up with the figure of 33,181. But Canelo didn't get 33 million to fight Rocky Fielding. He only got 15 million. So it's up to ESPN, it's up to DAZN how they're going to distribute the money based on a fight-to-fight basis. Okay? So we really don't know how much Tyson Fury is getting for each fight. I'm sure they're not going to pay him the same to fight Otto Wallen as they are going to pay him to fight Deontay Wilder. So if Bob Arum is only guaranteeing Tyson Fury $5 million, that's what we know that's on record. People are saying 25, 28, but you can't confirm those numbers. You don't know for sure. So if Bob Arum is only guaranteeing Tyson Fury $5 million, and this fight is going to generate over $100 million, then how is Bob Arum and Top Rank going to lose money in this fight? Like, again, Bob Arum says break even point. He's talking about ESPN breaking even, not talking about him breaking even. Because Bob Arum and Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, I would suspect strongly, they're not gonna be taking a loss here. No one. The only people that are standing to take a loss here are the networks. So the networks have to pay the promoter. And the networks also have to pay the cable company, all right? And the networks are going to automatically give Bob Arum a flat fee up front. The casinos give Bob Arum a flat fee up front. The advertisers give Bob Arum a flat fee up front, okay? And when he sells the rights to this fight to the other countries, he gets a fee from those entities as well. So then he takes all the money that he's getting paid up front from the network, from the casino, from selling the rights to other countries, and from the sponsorships. And then he takes that money and determines how much he's going to guarantee Tyson Fury. Do you think he just throws a blank number out there before he comes up with the guarantee to pay the fighter? You think he's just going into this blind? Like, people don't understand how this works. They all because you just want because you're Anthony Joshua fan and you're not a Tyson Fury fan or you're not a Deontay Wilder fan. So anything that's affiliated with Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder, you want to see that fail. And even the same thing with the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fans. Anything that's Anthony Joshua. That's why all these people want the zone to fail, so they root against the zone and blah 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 blah. And you just don't get it. You just don't get it. The promotional companies and the fighters are not losing money. The only ones that stand a chance to lose money is the networks, the broadcasters. They're the ones that are taking the most risk. They're the ones that are buying the fights. Okay? They're the ones that are buying the fights. The Zone is taking a huge gamble by signing Canelo Alvarez to that $365 million deal. It's quite possible, and I can't confirm this, it's quite possible that they have the potential to lose a lot of money in that deal. Same thing with Anthony Joshua. Saudi Arabia put up a ton of money for that fight, but we still don't know. We still don't know if they got a return on their investment. And then people want to complain about, why do you talk about pay-per-views? Why do you talk about money? Because it's very important to talk about money, because pay-per-views gauge how many people are watching the sport, how much interest is in the sport. And if you are concerned about the longevity of the sport of boxing and you want it to be the best that it can be, then obviously, if you're a true fan of the sport, you would want as many people to watch the sport as possible. I love going into work. I love going into the gym. I love walking down the street and just randomly talking about boxing to people who don't even really watch the sport. I love when casual fans interact with me and are talking about a fight. I love my brother coming to me, asking me questions. I love my friends coming to me who aren't boxing fans, asking me questions about Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, because I've been a lifelong fan of the sport. I've been a fan of this sport for over half my life on this planet. Okay? I've been a lifelong fan of this sport for over half my life on this planet. And I want the sport to succeed. I want the sport to thrive. I want these fighters to make as much money as they possibly can, because that gives them an incentive to put on these big mega matchups. These guys aren't going to fight each other for free. They're not going to fight each other for free. So in order for boxing to survive, I still think pay-per-view is a vital part of it. I think it's very important that pay-per-view is still a very important part of this sport, because at the end of the day, the biggest fights are always going to be on pay-per-view. Pay-per-view has been around since 1981. It's been around for close to 40 years. It's not going away, guys. You can say what you want, and you want to talk about how pay-per-view is a failing model, but how is streaming a successful model? We haven't collected enough data to even know if streaming is a successful way of showing boxing. We don't know how well streaming is doing financially. If you're paying guys $365 million, you're paying Golovkin all this money. If you're paying Golovkin all this money, $165 million or whatever he's making, like, how are you getting a return on your investment if you're like, how do we know that there's enough subscribers subscribing to the Zone watching boxing to cover this money, cover the money that's being paid out to these fighters? So how is streaming successful? I think pay-per-view over the course of time, when you take all of the major pay-per-view events that have happened in the sport in the United States, I can almost guarantee you that none of these pay-per-views lost money. I can't tell you that about streaming. How is the Zone making money? I know ESPN Plus is making money because they have millions and millions of subscribers. You can see that. They have data to show that. The Zone isn't showing us any data. Okay, they're only, giving us. They're only saying that this fight, the Logan Paul fight with KSI, was the second highest, and they're telling us that the Joshua Ruiz was the first highest, but they're not giving us actual numbers. Okay? Are they really getting as many subscribers as ESPN Plus is getting? I'm going to tell you no. Okay? So at the end of the day, people who are saying, like Kevin Iole saying that pay-per-view is a failed business model, well, how can you say pay-per-view is a failed business model when streaming is still fairly new and there really isn't enough data to tell us if streaming is a successful business model? Because we know ESPN Plus is doing well because they have the zone. Thank you, Alexander Wilson. Arum said he lost money on Crawford's pay-per-view. I don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. Beeb, Alexander Wilson, thank you so much. Beeb, you're making so much sense. Amazon was a loss leader on publishing to the point that they put a lot of people out of business. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, again, so people like Kevin Iole who are saying pay-per-view is a failed business model. They really don't have any data to prove that streaming is a successful business model. They don't have any proof because so far I don't think the zone's making any money. Mark says, wish we could access the zone in ESPN Plus. We can't, and Beeb does not realize. I don't realize the UK model. I know zero about the UK model, and that's why I will never pretend that I do. Matchroom has the UK Sky deal. So if Sky don't want the fight in the UK, we don't see it. What the problem you guys are going to have is Eddie Hearn has a partnership with the Zone, and the Zone is paying Eddie Hearn a lot of money to show fights in the United States. So unfortunately for you guys in the UK, what's going to happen is you're going to end up watching a lot of fights at 5 o'clock in the morning because all of the big fights are going to be in the United States. How many big fights has Eddie Hearn put on in the UK recently? How many big fights has Eddie Hearn put on in the UK recently? He's taking his, he wants to sit there and talk about how the United States overpays fighters, but he's definitely benefiting from the United States overpaying fighters because the Zone is overpaying him. If you want to be real about with other fight cards that he's putting on the United States that would not generate the same amount of money if they were in the UK. It's just the fact of the matter. You have to do the math, guys. If you guys are only paying $25 for pay-per-views and your tickets for fights are not as much as ours, then obviously you're not going to generate the same revenue that we're going to generate. So again, I think people saying that the pay-per-view model is failing, they really don't make sense because they have no evidence to support the fact that the streaming model is not failing. Because if you don't get the subscribers in the streaming model, then you're not going to be able to pay the fighters. All right? If you're charging people a flat rate for every fight, whether it's big or small, that doesn't make sense. That would be like a car dealership who sold cars like Chevy. If Chevy's selling Cavaliers and they're selling Corvettes, would it make sense for Chevy to sell a Cavalier the same price as a Corvette? That's basically what the Zone is doing. At least with ESPN Plus, what they're doing is they have ESPN. ESPN has ESPN Plus, they have regular ESPN, and they have their own pay-per-view company as well. So they have three avenues of distributing fights, where the Zone only has one. So ESPN can sit there and say, well, this fight we'll put on the app, this fight we'll put on the regular network, this fight we'll put on pay-per-view. The Zone has no choice but to show every single fight on their streaming platform. Now, you can't sit there and tell me that when you eliminate those other avenues that you're not going to take a hit when it comes to viewership. You're not going to sit there and tell me that when you put a fight on pay-per-view, you're not going to reach more eyeballs than if you put it on an app. Because this fight was shown in bars. This fight was shown in closed-circuit theaters. This fight was shown on ESPN. This fight was shown on Fox. This fight was shown on the Fox app. This fight was shown on ESPN Plus. This fight was shown in other countries. Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz was only shown on DAZN. It was only shown on the Sky, and it was shown in other countries too. But it was not shown on a big broadcast network. Okay? That's the problem. So even ESPN Plus are making people pay for pay-per-views in the UFC. That's how ESPN Plus, they're not, I can almost guarantee, or I can strongly suspect that ESPN Plus, I can't guarantee, but I can strongly suspect that ESPN Plus is not losing money. They're not losing money. They're not losing money. They're gaining subscribers at a much more rapid rate in the United States than DAZN is. I just it's just pretty obvious. So this whole notion that Top Rank and Bob Arum are going to take a bath in this fight, these are baseless claims, because people who are making these claims don't understand how the model works. They don't understand how the pay structure in boxing works. Okay? And I repeat, the people who are making the biggest risk here, are taking the biggest risk, are the broadcasters. They're the ones who are taking the biggest partnership with DAZN. And in order for that partnership to work, the broadcaster and the network, the broadcaster/network, fronts the promoter the money, and then the promoter in turn pays the fighter. So it's almost really impossible, unless like Bob Arum has his own promotional company. Okay? He has Top Rank pay-per-view. So if he uses his own promotional company and uses his own money to put on an event, which he has done in the past, I think he did that with Crawford's pay-per-view because ESPN didn't want to put it on pay-per-view. ESPN, I believe, wanted to put Crawford's last fight on the app or whatever, and Bob Arum wanted to put it on pay-per-view. So he had, and ESPN wouldn't put it on pay-per-view. So Bob Arum had to use his own pay-per-view company. So in that instance, yeah, Bob Arum can lose money when he's using his own pay-per-view company. But if he's using ESPN's pay-per-view company, then most likely he's not going to lose any money. He's not going to lose any money. It's just the way it is, guys. So when you guys make claim about break-even points, you say they need this to break even, the they you're talking about is more than likely and more often than not, it's the distributor, it's the broadcaster, it's the network. That's it. That's it. And the reason why ESPN is in a better position than DAZN is because they actually have pay-per-view on the app, where DAZN does not. And even Eddie Hearn said, well, if we make Fury Joshua and we put it on DAZN, DAZN may have to charge a pay-per-view fee for that particular fight. Trust me, guys. I can almost guarantee you this, and I'm just telling you the facts here. Using empirical data and using history, eventually DAZN is going to start charging money for pay-per-views. It's going to happen. Eventually they're going to do that down the road. Thank you, Alexander Wilson. It says Bob said ESPN Plus wouldn't be profitable until 2025. He would know. I don't know. All I know is they have more subscribers. I think they're gaining subscribers at a faster rate than DAZN is in the United States. I can tell you that. ESPN Plus does not edge slightly ahead of DAZN in the U.S. That's totally false. They have a lot more subscribers in the U.S. than DAZN has. That's not true. That's not true. And it's an unfair comparison to compare ESPN Plus to DAZN globally, because ESPN Plus is not available globally. ESPN Plus is not available globally. can't. So it's an unfair comparison. They're not available globally. You can't get ESPN Plus in other countries. You can only get it in the United States. Imagine if ESPN Plus was available globally. Forget about it. Forget about it. Yeah, ESPN Plus I think is making a good amount on the UFC pay-per-views. I think I think the UFC pay-per-views are doing pretty good. I think they're doing pretty well, to be perfectly honest with you. Someone just told me that they paid for the first Wilder Fury fight, but they didn't pay for the rematch. That's that's ridiculous. Why the second fight was much better than the first fight? Why would you why would you pay why would you pay for the first fight, not pay for the second fight? What does Sports Business Insider say differently about ESPN Plus and DAZN? I'm confused. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Papoose? I mean, again, you're just gonna come in here and try and say the opposite of whatever I say. I mean, we already know the routine, brother. We, we already know your shtick. That's the routine. You come on here and you're just gonna say the opposite of what I say because you just want to argue with me. It's not about me and you, brother. It's about the facts. And then continuously, I prove you wrong time and time again. Everyone sees it, and it's just embarrassing. It's actually getting embarrassing. It's almost like child abuse debating with you. I feel like I'm debating with a third grader sometimes. I really do. I really do. ESPN Plus has more subscribers in the United States than DAZN does. It's just, it's just a fact, bro. It's just a fact. I don't understand why you don't get it. I don't understand why you don't get it. Yeah, I know. This guy's saying. This guy's back again, I know. The contrarian is back again. What can I tell you? You're never going to win with this guy. To be perfectly honest with you, I actually like the Zone better than ESPN Plus when it comes to content. I've seen better fight cards on the Zone than I've seen on ESPN Plus. But people in America buy ESPN Plus because it has a lot of other sports on it. You know? ESPN Plus has 7.6 million subscribers as of 2020, and DAZN has 4 million subscribers. So ESPN Plus has double the subscribers than DAZN does in the United States. I just found out right here by by the sources that I'm reading right here. So you can't really compare the two in terms of subscription base in the United States. That it's not even close. It's not even close. ESPN Plus is doing much better than DAZN is. And the reason why is because ESPN, one thing ESPN Plus does have over DAZN is I think DAZN has much better boxing. I think Eddie Hearn put on a great card last night on DAZN. I think that was a phenomenal show. I think I've only seen a few good cards on ESPN Plus. What's my source? Let me read my source right here. Business Insider, actually. There's one of them. Let's see what the other source is. ESPN Plus, there's own subscribers. I mean, you're just gonna. Every time you come on here, you just take the opposite side of whatever I'm saying. Everybody realizes it. You know, it's not. It's like it's. Everybody knows. Forbes is another source. Yeah, Forbes, Business Insider. Yeah. Newsday. ESPN Plus take the lead, blah, blah, blah. Let's look at Newsday. Look what Newsday says. You can't compare the two in the United States. It's just not a comparison in terms of subscribers. You can't compare the two. The reason why I'm getting defensive is because no matter what I say, you're always going to take the opposite side of whatever I say. Why can't you ever just come on here and agree with me when I'm right? John Skipper says the Zone has over 8 million subscribers worldwide to Hossa. The Disney plus Hulu plus ESPN plus bundle has helped to drive subscriptions. Yeah, sure it has. 8 million subscribers globally, and that's globally, okay? Tax, you're gone. That's racist what you just said. You're gone. You're gone forever. You're never coming back. We're not bringing race into this. You're gone. Yeah, but what does edging closer mean? Like, what does that mean? They have 8 million subscribers worldwide. ESPN Plus has 7.6 million subscribers in the U.S. alone. I mean, you can't compare the two. It's like, stop it. Just stop it, bro. You can't argue points that are just factual. You can't debate facts with opinions. It just can't happen. ESPN Plus has over 7 million, like 7.6 million subscribers in the United States. The Zone has 8 million worldwide. You're wrong, bro. Beeb, what's your opinion on the Zone thinking of buying 49% of Top Rank? I think it's a great idea. Papoose, stop. Just stop the argument. You were proved wrong again. It's over. You're wrong again. Stop making facts. Stop making opinions and passing them off as facts. Stop it. Just stop. Just stop. Stop doing it. It's really frustrating that you're going to come. I shouldn't let it bother me because you're just trolling. There's no reason why I should let this let you get under my skin so much, but it's ridiculous that you'll come on here and say things that aren't true. Stop coming on here trying to disagree with me. Stop coming on here trying to disagree with me. Just take the L. You're proven wrong all the time. I'll call Bob Arum and get actual quotes. He's calling me weird when he comes on here and disagrees with everything I say. Like, how could I be weird when you come on a video just to take the opposite side, bro? Like, have you ever come on a video that I've made and agreed with me? If you're disagreeing with me 100% of the time, even when I'm right, that's a problem with you. It's not a problem with me. We're done with it. Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. Okay, but what does edging closer mean? What does that mean? What does edging closer mean? What does edging closer mean? You made a statement earlier in the chat that it was close. That the Zone is close to the amount of subscription as ESPN Plus. Okay? You made that statement. I can go back and pull it up on the chat. It's not close. ESPN Plus has double the subscribers that the Zone has in the United States. That's not close. Whether they're edging closer doesn't matter. They're still far behind ESPN Plus. It's factual. It's factual. That's it. That's my point. It's common sense. All right, so back to, he's done now. Forget about it. I don't even know if Bob Arum's really selling Top Rank. Yeah, leave, because you're just taking the opposite side and you don't have the information. Like, why do you get, like, if someone proves me wrong, I'll just say, hey, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. Why can't you just say, hey, I was wrong. I made a mistake? Why is it so hard for you? I get defensive when I'm being attacked. You're always coming on here telling me that what I'm saying is wrong when I have actual evidence to support what I'm saying. I can't have a conversation with someone that has cognitive dissonance. I can't. The reason why you want the zone, it is an opinion. It is an opinion. Can you tell me that the zone, can you tell me that ESPN Plus does not have double the subscribers that the zone has in the United States? Can you tell me that? Yes or no? You can't. You can't show me any evidence that can prove that I'm wrong in saying that. You can't. Because what you do is I look for everything. I look at all the sides. You look for confirmation bias. Okay. What did the article say? It said they're edging closer. Does that mean they're close? No. If I'm running a race against somebody and I'm 10 lengths ahead of them, and then as the race goes on, I'm only 7 lengths ahead of them, that means they're edging closer. But they're still significantly behind me. So it's a moot point. It's a moot point. That's all I'm saying. I get defensive because you're intentionally taking the opposite side of what I'm saying just for the sake of like, I'll be honest with you. You say such stupid things that it's actually frustrating. I'm just telling the truth. You frustrate me because you act so stupid. You say such stupid things that it actually irritates me. And I'm sorry to insult you, but I'm just telling you the truth. That's why. That's why. All right. So that's basically all I can tell you guys. I mean, when people want to talk about break-even numbers, who are they actually talking about? More than likely, it's the network that has to break even, not the promoter. It's the network, because the network is the one paying the promoter. It's not the other way around. The network takes the biggest risk because they have to pay the cable company and they have to pay the promoter. All the promoter does is just sit back and gets all of the guarantees from the various entities that are investing in the fight, and that's how they determine what the guarantee is. Again, for people to come out here and say that to insinuate that Bob Arum's stupid enough to offer a guarantee to the fighter that he can't carry, that he can't cover, it just makes no sense. Bob Arum is a very educated man, and even Al Heyman, the same thing. These are educated people. They're getting guaranteed money from Fox. They're getting guaranteed money from the venues that are staging the event. They're getting guaranteed money from sponsors. They're getting guaranteed money from the countries they're selling the rights to broadcast the fight. The promoter is selling the rights to the fight, to the network, to the casino, to the sponsors, to the countries that are also buying the rights to the fights. So again, it's almost for a promoter to lose money in an event this big is almost impossible unless they're doing the distribution themselves. If the promoter's not doing the distribution themselves, then they're not going to lose money on it. They're not going to lose money on it. Papoose, just let it go. Just let it go, brother. Just let it go. You said it was close. You said that ESPN Plus only had a few more subscribers than DAZN in the United States. That is false. Just concede that point. That's false. That's false. All right, guys. That's pretty much all I had to say. I gotta bounce. I got some things to do today, but I will definitely be back tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the Ringside Reporter podcast. And I wish you all have a great day, and make sure you tune in later at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Come right back here, and Eric and I will be recapping this weekend's fights. The Jesse Vargas, Mikey Garcia fight, that whole card last night, which turned out to be a very good card. Yeah, make sure you check us out later. All right, Beeb is out. Talk to y'all soon. Peace. Have a great day.